TikTok. We're going to give it a few minutes. We will let some of you lovely people jump on, and then we will get into today's live. I am absolutely buzzing because I have finally, as you can see behind me, got my print, my Type 1 movement logo print just come before. Got it all nicely set up. Think it's looking good. So fucking happy with that. You guys on TikTok, it's cut off. Just the way that you guys on TikTok, you're going to have to deal with it. Cool. Right, we're going to give it a few minutes. We'll let some people jump onto this live stream, and we'll get the party started to deliver some value to you guys in something that I get asked to do a video a lot on. So I'm not only doing a video, I'm doing a fucking podcast on it as well. And I'm going to break it down. So it's all about how I teach my clients to carb count and how I actually learned how to carb count as well. So, right, let's give it a minute. Let's give it a minute to let some of you guys jump on. We'll make sure we're all rolling. We're live on TikTok, live on Instagram, live on YouTube. Anyone's watching on YouTube, hit the thumbs up, double tap, give me some love. Leave me an emoji in the comments. Make sure you're liking it, sharing it. We're live on Facebook as well. What is happening? Cool. Right. Shall we hit record and get into it? Anyone watching this on the replay as well, please give me a hashtag replay so I know how many people watch it. Also, on some brownie points, let me know what you think to the canvas, to the print. I'm also wearing my Diabetes UK t-shirt today. So, right. Shall we hit record and get into it? 3, 2, 1. Yes, gang, what is happening? Welcome back to another episode of the Type 1 Movement Podcast with me, your boy, your host, Type 1 Tom. And in this episode, this is a highly requested sort of video and episode, you know, from a lot of other Type 1s and parents of Type 1s as well. And I'm going to talk about like how I teach my clients to carb count and how I learned to carb count as well. I'm going to go into a lot of depth on this, and give you guys a lot of fucking value as I always do. So make sure you grab a pen and paper. But before we get started, make sure you're leaving me a rating and a review on the podcast app. 5 stars, please, if you get value from this episode, as it really does help me reach more Type 1 diabetics and positively impact our community. Also, give it a screenshot, share it on your Instagram stories, and tag me at Type1_Tom. Now, before we get into this, I'm going to be honest, like today is, give me a silent head nod and give me a fire emoji in the comments if you're watching this on the live, if you can relate to this. Today is just fucking stressful as fuck for me. And I'm not a negative person. Shit in my life's really good and I've got ways of dealing with things and stuff. But, you know, sometimes when you're like walking that tightrope, your stress levels are that high and you're walking that tightrope and every small thing fucking flips you over the edge. It's like Steve does something, he digs a god. I'm like, Steve, you little shit, fucking stop it. Do you know what I mean? Or like something happens in business, I'm like, for fuck's sake. Like little things that shouldn't really be irritating me are really getting to me today. So I need to like go away and think of ways to de-stress. But today has been one of those days. And give me a silent head nod if you're listening to this. If this happens to you at times, right? Doesn't matter, I think, how like much of a positive person that you are, how much of a good headspace you can be in, how good your life is. Sometimes shit will get too much and your stress levels will fill up and you'll be like, fuck off, and flip at the smallest thing. So that has been me today. But you guys won't see this on the podcast. You'll see this on the live. Today, my print logo the Type 1 Movement logo for my business, my company, is stuck on the wall behind me and I'm absolutely loving it. I am loving it. So we've had some stressful times throughout today, but this is a positive. This is definitely a win for the day. So anyway, without further ado, let's get into it. How I teach my clients to carb count and how I taught myself how to carb count. Now, what is carb counting? I want to go right from the fucking beginnings and the basics there. Right from the beginning and the basics, because I don't just want to come out and give you something and you not understand the theory behind it. I'm big on this with clients. I like to explain the theory. You know, my coaching, my training videos that we've got in our course, I like to explain the theory in why certain things are happening. Yeah, why certain things are happening. So what is carb counting? Basically, carb counting is something that we need to do as Type 1 diabetics. Carb counting means that we are counting the amount of carbohydrates in our meal. Pretty simple, right? We do also need to count protein and fats, and using this method that I'm going to talk you through, you're going to be able to count those as well. But carb counting basically enables us to see the amount of carbohydrates in a meal, yeah? And that enables us to then convert that to our insulin to carb ratio so we know how much insulin we need to administer. We know how much insulin we need to give, right? If we're not counting carbs, we're winging it, we're whacking whatever in. This is like fucking throwing shit at a wall and hoping something sticks. Yeah. Type 1 diabetes is very data run. And the more data that we can get, the more accurate we can be, the more well controlled and healthier that we can be as well at the end of the day. Right. So carb counting is basically the majority of foods like carbohydrate sort of foods. So we've got rice, pasta, cereals, oats, potatoes, vegetables, beans, pulses, some nuts, like some forms of protein might have a little bit of carbohydrates in. Like we need to be able to count those pretty accurately, not be 100%, but pretty accurately to be able to convert that, like I say, to what our insulin to carb ratio is to give X amount of insulin per, let's say, 10 grams of carbs. That's what carb counting is. Yeah. This is important. Like I said, because if you're just winging it, and I speak to a lot of type 1s that are just looking at meals, winging it, they've not got a fucking clue out the amount of carbs in. They're just sticking whatever units of insulin in. This is why your levels are dropping lower, you're dropping high, and you're riding that fucking roller coaster all the time. You need to take the time to do what I'm going to teach you and talk you through to do, because it's going to benefit fucking you at the end of the day. Yeah. It's so important that we know the amount of carbs in our meals so we then can know how much fucking insulin to give. This is making sense. Give me a fire emoji on the live team. It's important we know the amount of carbohydrates in our meals so we know how much insulin to give. You'll never be bang on. But you need to know a figure, a number. Right. I'm going to come straight out and say it. The easiest way for you to learn how to carb count is to track your food using an app like MyFitnessPal. There's a few other apps, but that is the best one. I love MyFitnessPal. I get all my clients to use it. Like, it's so simple and easy to use once you've had a bit of a play around with it. The reason being is this is not only going to tell you the amount of carbs in your food. If you can scan barcodes on there, you can search for foods. It's also going to tell you the amount of protein and the amount of fats in a meal as well, which you also need to know. We still need to be able to not just count carbs, but count protein and fats. But that's a episode and a live for another day. We're focusing on carbs here. So look, this is the easiest way. Let's say we have a packet of rice and we scan the barcode in MyFitnessPal. That will come up, right, there is X amount of carbs per 100 grams of this. All you then do, you need your weighing scales, you'll weigh it out, and hang on a minute, team, before anyone says, I can't be arsed weighing my food, it's a few minutes, if that. Yeah, your first time, it might be a bit odd going into your app and, putting all these numbers in and weighing food, but you will get quicker at it, and it is a means to an end, which I'll talk you through now. So anyone that says, I can't be arsed weighing my food, and you are struggling with your blood glucose levels, step out, a bit of tough love here, step out your own fucking way and do this very small task that has a big return on investment. It's a very small amount of time throughout your day that's going to enable you to get your carb count accurate, which will enable you to bolus correctly, which will enable you to have better control over your diabetes and your blood glucose levels. So let's say we've got this packet of rice. We scan the barcode in MyFitnessPal. Dead simple. We then weigh it, and then we can go and cook it. Yeah, that's how the majority of MyFitnessPal will work. So if you've got a barcode, scan it, weigh the amounts out. There you go. It's going to tell you, add it to your diary. It's going to tell you the amount of carbs, the amount of fats, and the amount of protein. Predominantly on this, we're looking at carbs. But there's a flip side to this. Let's say we're eating out at a restaurant, because I think the majority of us are humans. We like to eat out. And we can't get a barcode. We can't go and ask the chef, excuse me, mate, can you just give me the barcode for that fucking meal that I've ordered and the rest of it and tell me how many grams of rice or spaghetti you put? You can't do that, right? So even still using MyFitnessPal, I get all my clients to do this, and I still do this at times if I'm unsure on the meals that I'm eating out, is what I would do is I would go into MyFitnessPal and I would search, because you can search foods in there. There's also a lot of big name restaurants in there, but let's say it's not a name restaurant. You've got this meal, let's say we've ordered spaghetti bolognese, and you're like, right, well, I can't scan the barcodes, there's no barcodes. Go into MyFitnessPal, search spaghetti bolognese, you're going to have to guesstimate the amounts, and that's going to give you the calories, your carbohydrates, your fats, and your proteins. It's going to get you in the ballpark, and I'm big on this with clients. This is better than you just fucking looking down at a meal and trying to fucking wing it and not having a clue, because you've never tracked food. You don't know the amount of carbs in this fucking meal. So when you're eating out, go into MyFitnessPal, search in the search bar the food that you're having. Let's say in this case it's spaghetti bolognese, spag bol. Search it, have a look. There'll be a load of different options. Pick one that has the macro breakdown, so your macronutrients, your carbs, your fats, and your proteins, right? Pick one that has that breakdown on it. And then it's going to get you in the ballpark which will enable you to convert that to your insulin to carb ratio, which will enable you to bolus for it. Right. Here's the thing with this. Here's the thing. I don't track my food anymore. Some of my most successful clients do not track their food anymore. And this, tracking your food is a means to an end. Tracking your food using that like MyFitnessPal and weighing it all out is a means to an end, because we don't want to be doing that forever, and you don't have to do that forever. You will eventually get to a place where I'm at now and where my most successful clients are at, and we can look at a meal and we can get within the ballpark of telling you the amount of carbs, the amount of fats, and the amount of protein. We don't need to track it. We don't need to weigh it, because we can eyeball it. Now, how have we got to that level? We've only got to that level through using apps like MyFitnessPal, weighing foods, because this is giving us that knowledge that we need. This is giving us that education for us to be able to eyeball, because we've seen it before. Well, I know for X amount of time, this is what 100 grams of rice looks like, because I fucking weighed it. So now when I'm putting it out myself, I know roughly that's what it looks like. Now when it comes out on a restaurant on a plate, that looks a little bit smaller than my normal 100 grams. So I'm going to go for 60 grams or 80 grams. You do not have this sort of knowledge. I'm going to let this outro finish 1 second. Always fucking gets me that. Always gets me. Always gets me. Little bastard. Right. We are ready to go again in 3, 2, 1. Cool. You will not have the knowledge for you to be able to eyeball and guesstimate foods unless you have put the reps in tracking your food using that MyFitnessPal. You just won't. This is a means to an end, and it's like a lot of stuff with our diabetes. And I say this to clients, like, put the reps in now of tracking your food, weighing your food, searching if you're eating out. Yeah, because then, yes, it takes a little bit of time, takes a little bit of mental brain power, but eventually that will pay off when you can just look at a meal and go, right, I know there's 80 grams of carbs in that, 40 grams of protein, 20 grams of fat. Cool. This is my ratio. This is what I'm going to dial up and put in. Yeah. It's worth putting the reps in now. It's worth putting the reps in now, because that's going to give you so much knowledge. And say this to my clients, tracking your food will give you so much more knowledge than me as a coach can give you, because you're going to be able to see exactly what's in that. Yeah. So I'm going to do a quick recap. Why carb count is important. I think we understand that. We know we need X amount of insulin per a certain amount of carbs. That's why it's important. Yeah. And if you're just winging it now, hopefully this is giving you a bit of a breakdown. The easiest way to learn how to carb count is to use a food tracking app like MyFitnessPal. I started using that. I used it years on and off. Every now and again, I might use it if I want to drop a bit of body fat or gain some lean muscle, so I know what my calories are. All my clients use it. As soon as we start my program, this is what I make them get set up on, for the reasons that it's a huge return on investment. Yeah. So you can use that like MyFitnessPal. You're going to need some scales. If you say, I can't be honest tracking my food, get out your own fucking weight. It's worth it. Put the work in now, put the reps in, that will pay off. Yeah. And then you'll eventually get to a point where you've tracked your food for that long. You know what 100 grams of carbs looks like. Yeah. You know what 50 grams of carbs looks like. You know what certain foods have more carbs, more fats, more protein, because you've tracked your food. And a good little test for yourself to do, let's say you go through your tracking your food for a few weeks or months, try and eyeball it. Get a meal out, put what you think is the amount of carbs, your fats, and your protein, and then go and stick it in MyFitnessPal and play a little game with yourself. This is a fun little game to see how close you actually got. See how good your sort of eye judgment was. Yeah. Team, that is it. That is the easiest way to teach yourself how to count carbohydrates and also your protein and fats as well. Download a food tracking app like MyFitnessPal. Get yourself a set of scales. Start weighing your food. Start tracking your food. Searching for the meals if you're out, because this will pay off massively. And I want to just reiterate this again, because this is a huge saying that I'm so big on with myself and clients. When we first start something, it's going to take a lot of mental energy. It's going to take a lot of brain power. You're going to get a little bit stressed and a bit overwhelmed, because it's new. It's something that if you've never tracked your food before, you're not really weighed food before, you're going to be like, fucking hell, this is a lot. But it's worth taking that time to put in now, so later down the line, it doesn't take up as much mental energy, and you're becoming like automatic. It's just habitual. You've got that much knowledge. You've tracked food for so long, you can just eye judge. And this comes for anything with our diabetes, running tests in our basal rates, insulin to carb ratio, fine-tuning our control. Like, this goes the same principle for that. Put the reps in now, because the idea is later down the line, it's going to pay off massively. Team, that is it. If you got value from this episode, please leave me a rating and review on the podcast app. As I said at the start, 5-star as well if you got value. It really does help me reach more type 1 diabetics and positively impact our community. Also, give it a screenshot. Share it on your Instagram stories and tag me at type1_Tom. I appreciate you so much for listening today. I hope you have the fucking best day ever, team. Until the next episode, peace. Squad, right, do we have any questions? I've seen a few coming in then. So I'll go through a few. You guys watching on TikTok, make sure you double tap on there. Guys on Facebook, Jason, loving the shirt that featured the 100 kg power clean. Yes, went and took my stress out at the gym before. Appreciate you, buddy. Hope you're good. Cool. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you give me a thumbs up on there. Guys on Instagram, let's go through. Quite a busy one on Instagram then. Cafe Dexcom just a week ago. Not up to this live today. Enjoy your day. Rating and my stress levels are taking a day off today. Later, Tom. Hope you're okay, Cafe. Appreciate the comment. Go and chill. We've got a fire emoji. Thank you. Good question. When you have time, is it possible to skip breakfast if you're not a breakfast person and skip and don't inject insulin? Doctor told me I need to eat 3 meals a day, every day, and insulin before the meal. This is an amazing question. And this is one thing that annoys me with doctors and endos. I know they're overrun. I know they've got a lot of patients to look after, but this is the sort of shit that annoys me. So I'm going to tell you straight up. I don't eat breakfast. I normally eat at about 12 or 1 in the afternoon. Sometimes a little bit later, just depends on what's going on. A few of my clients do as well. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, I still get 3 meals in a day. At the times I've had 2 meals and stuff, it doesn't matter. And what your doctor's saying now, if it's saying you shouldn't be skipping a meal because of injecting insulin, look, team, like, basal, I'll be honest with you now, basal rate if you're on a pump, I always bang on about this, long lasting if you're on pens. If your basal rate is correct, you will be able to fast throughout the day and your blood glucose levels stay in range, right? If you miss meals, your levels should be staying in range. If not, you need to go and adjust your basal rate or your long lasting insulin. So it's absolutely fine to skip breakfast. I do, a lot of my clients do. No issues with that at all. You don't need to eat 3 meals a day. The thing that matters with meals, team, and I always like to over-deliver with these questions. I love these fucking questions. It's why I do what I do at the end of the day. The thing that matters at the end of the day is your total daily calorie intake, the amount of protein that you get in, and the carbs and your fats. However you want to distribute them, if you're going low carb, higher fat, it's up to you. But as long as you get enough calories in, or you're hitting your calories if you've got a target, you get enough protein in, you could get that in 1 single meal. You could get that in 6 meals. It doesn't fucking make a difference. It really doesn't matter. It comes down to a person's lifestyle at the end of the day. Because let's say I said to someone who is dead busy, right, you've got to eat 6 meals a day. Are they going to do that? Probably fucking not. So we go, right, let's eat 3 meals a day. But let's say someone then come to me and was like, right, I like to eat little and often. I've got the time to. It's what I enjoy to do. And I'm like, no, you only need to eat 2 or 3 meals. I want to eat 6 meals. Cool. It doesn't matter. It's down to a person's lifestyle at the end of the day. Then on the flip side for us, if our basal rate's right, we should be able to miss meals if needed, and we still stay in range. Hopefully that answers that question. That's a very good question. Cool. Just skipping down. Right. We've got no other questions, team. So I appreciate you all. Let me know thoughts on the logo. Do you like it? Is it mega? Is it shit? Let us know. Right, gang. I'm going to jump off. Thanks very much for tuning in, for watching, for lending me your ears and eyes today. Hope you have a fucking great day. Until the next live, have a good one, team. Peace.